Hey, this is Wyatt with the Creative Habits Podcast. And in this episode, I just want to talk about Abraham Hicks, who is, someone I've been listening to for a while. Many segments and recordings of Abraham Hicks. And my own segment here, I finally found the one that I think bridges the gap between kind of like what most people think and the thoughts from Abraham Hicks, which are a little bit woo-woo. So a lot of people have this cultural filter, and they listen to Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction and how she talks about needing to really kind of tap in, tune in, turn on, and just get into tapping into the source energy. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. They don't really gravitate to the idea of source energy or anything like that. It's a little too woo-woo, or even borders on a religious cult, so to speak. Here's the thing, though. Listen to this little clip from Abraham Hicks. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I think this bridges the gap because it talks about the source energy from the perspective of being in the zone. Meaning, when you're looking at athletes and how they're in the zone, that's what it talks about. And I think that's the gap, and that's the bridge, I think, that kind of gets people to kind of listen to Abraham Hicks a little bit more. Now, after you hear this clip, which I think is epitomized in The Rise of Superman, the book The Rise of Superman, and others, where they really talk about, really being in the zone, and the athletes really get to this level, and they're really able to bend time in their own way so that they're performing at a level that most people won't experience in their lifetime. It's amazing. But the thing of it is, that comes from a different source. So here, check out this clip.
Athletes, because of the time they spend on the court or on the field, often are in alignment, and therefore you could say are dominantly in alignment with who they are. And you can tell the ones who really are because their physical faculties that they've already trained through physicalness, which matters, are now reinforced, supported in this awesome way of non-physical understanding, which means they have access to the laws of physics in a way that most humans never do, and they have it in the moment when it matters. Not only that, they have what you might want to call psychic ability. We want to call it just normal connecting with who you are so that you have a broader point of view. They not only are able to, when they're really in that zone, really tuned in, tapped in, turned on, they're not only able to acknowledge the spatial distance between where they stand in the basket, even though they may never have stood in that precise spot before. They not only have access to what's going on with wind speeds if they're outside, or wind direction if they're outside. They not only have the ability and the mastery of their own muscles, they have knowledge that most humans prevent themselves from having, and they have it in the moment, and that's why they can hit the basket from way on the other side of mid-court, and the crowd goes wild. It's like the luckiest thing they've ever seen. And we say, no, that's not luck. That's shooting the basket with your inner being. That's being in touch with that broader understanding of what the physics of your world are about. Not only that, they're psychic in the way you mean psychic, in that they have a sense of where everybody else is planning to be too. Have you ever watched them playing basketball? Esther likes it. She's down right up where she can see really closely, and she's trying to read everyone's minds. It's quite a minefield. And she watches the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of changes of decisions that take place in one game as one team is adapting to what the other team is doing. Put a different player in, everything changes. Put a different player in, everybody on that team responds differently with that player. And it's not because of the plans or the plays that they've practiced. It's because of what each player is doing individually, vibrationally in that moment on the field. It has to do with the fight that one had with his wife before he got there. It has to do with how much sleep that one got. It has to do with how tuned in they are, period. Because if they're tuned in with their source, then they can tune in with each other.
When you listen to that, you'll realize, okay, yes, you've seen that before. And one way or another, you've experienced that before, whether it's kind of being in a car accident where time suddenly slows down, or where you're in the zone for whatever amount of time and you're playing at your best and you just feel alive. And that's when you're tapped into true source. What she talks about in a lot of her videos, I couldn't really render to you in a way that maybe does a justification. So what I'm doing here, or what I'm introducing you to, is a Abraham Hicks 30-day challenge. Now this comes from, if you look, a lot of people talk about their morning routine. And if you look, some people will get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and they'll have an exercise routine. They read inspirational books. They listen to things. They have a powerful breakfast, and then they get going. And when you do that, if you try that morning routine, you'll find it actually helps your creativity immensely, not to mention the rest of your day or life. Well, here's what I've got for you. The 30-day Abraham Hicks Challenge. And the way this works is, basically, after 30 days of doing and listening to something, you really gravitate or understand it, or grok it, as some people will say. That, of course, comes from Robert Heinlein's book, Stranger in a Strange Land. But that grok is in the dictionary, and you'll see it thrown around these days. Anyway, when you grok something, you fully kind of get it at a different level. So maybe not 30 days gets you at the tip of the iceberg. But when you do it on a daily basis, it does get you to understand, can this experiment or challenge be kind of translated into a habit for you? Meaning, you'll kind of get to a level where you can see if that is going to work for you in terms of a habit, and you want to kind of weave into your life. So I put this out to you, listening to Abraham Hicks for 30 days, every day for 30 days, and then going and doing this when you wake up and when you go to sleep. And what you do is you do stream of consciousness free writing. After you listen to Abraham Hicks, sit down and do some free writing. Do it for 30 minutes or maybe 500 words, whichever comes first, whichever you feel comfortable with. And it brings the subconscious ideas you get after listening to Hicks. And then I challenge you to go for a walk and then start your day. Or listen to Abraham Hicks and go for the walk at the same time, if at all possible, and then go ahead and do the free of consciousness, the free writing exercise. Now, you can do this on your own. You can go to YouTube and you can listen to different Abraham Hicks videos. But what I've done is I've put together videos that don't have ads, and I've also have a 30-day challenge you can basically sign up for. There's nothing connected to this sign up. I don't rent or sell your name, so on and so forth. And in fact, that's all I send you. Just the challenge. That's it. I'm not sending anything else. So in case you're thinking, he's just building his list. No. Nothing like that. In fact, when it's done, it's done. That's it. It's just there to kind of facilitate this whole experiment. There's a link in the show notes, and you can go ahead and sign up for the challenge. But you don't have to. Go ahead and just find some videos. What I do is I prompt you with this email. Each email comes very early in the morning and basically offers up to you a video, ad-free, and you listen to it, and then it has some different, in the email I also have some different prompts and exercises that you might try. Consider. It's all there for you, and I'm telling you, in terms of changing your life, if you start listening to some of the people who approach Abraham Hicks, their life totally changes. And whether you believe in the woo-woo part of it or not, does not matter one iota. It's not about that. Listen, take off your cultural filters and just listen to what she has to say, because a lot of it has to do with appreciation. A lot of it has to do with appreciation for where you are in particular moments, these segments of your life where you change from moment to moment and you're finding appreciation in those moments, but it goes well beyond that. Again, I couldn't render or articulate exactly how, all of what Abraham Hicks talks about. Now, the thing of it is, what she talks about is very simple, meaning there's just a few basic ideas from Abraham Hicks, and she repeats them over and over and over and over again in many different ways. But at the source, no pun intended, at the source, of course, of what she's talking about is tapping into and tuning into your intuition, your heart, and really tapping into that, so that you're not just gravitated to the mind. You're not just thinking that the world is only made up of these physical elements that you can see, hear, touch, and feel at any given moment. Because if you look at vibration and energy, everything in the universe is connected. And when you realize that and you understand how different energies work, it's amazing what you're able to do, not listening to CNN, not getting into the car and then going off on some road rage, but really just grounding yourself a bit more. And in that experience, doing that every morning. And then at night, with a little intentionality, you'll find a different experience, meaning it will help immensely with your creative potential and well-being. I highly encourage you to check it out. Do the Abraham Hicks 30-day challenge. You can sign up below or not. You can just go and find your videos and do the free writing exercises. Again, the 30-day challenge is just there for prompts and so on. So check it out. Thanks a lot for listening to this episode. I've got some more coming to you, including some on frequency. Really, I'm going to go back to my original intention of looking at the subconscious, and I'm going to reserve my kind of YouTube channel for more of the quote-unquote practical side. And the audio part of it is going to be a bit more about the subconscious and the woo-woo, and kind of delving into, Greg Braden and a lot of our history, because there's some amazing things about our history that is, as Greg Braden puts it, we are a culture that has serious amnesia. There's so much proof out there that shows we are much, much, much older as a species. Well, most popular society puts out to be. So thanks a lot for listening. I will see you in the next podcast, and I'm going to make this, again, a weekly thing. So look forward to that. And I really appreciate you listening, and I'll see you next time.